His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received King of Malaysia, His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim ibn Al Maktoum Sultan Iskandar and his sons at Sakia Palace during their visit to Bahrain. His Majesty King Hamad welcomed His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim and reviewed the strong bilateral relations between Bahrain and Malaysia. The Majesties discussed means to enhance cooperation across various sectors. In addition, the latest regional and international developments were discussed. His Majesty King Hamad reaffirmed Bahrain's commitment to strengthening ties and expanding cooperation with Malaysia. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa chaired the weekly Cabinet meeting at Agadir Palace. The Cabinet extended its congratulations to His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa on being awarded the Prince Naif Award for Arab Security First Class by the Arab Interior Ministers' Council during its 42nd session. The award is granted to heads of state and governments in recognition of their pioneering contributions to security and peace. The Cabinet reaffirmed that His Majesty the King's directives and far-reaching vision continue to strengthen the Kingdom's role in supporting international efforts to safeguard peace and global stability. The Cabinet welcomed the Kingdom's medical milestone in successfully completing the treatment of the world's first sickle cell disease patient outside the United States using Casgevy, Esagam Glogene Autostem Cell, a CRISPR-based gene editing therapy utilising bone marrow transplantation technology. In this regard, the Cabinet commended the efforts of the concerned authorities, particularly the Royal Medical Services Bahrain Oncology Centre, in facilitating this groundbreaking medical achievement. The Cabinet also extended its congratulations to the patient on completing the treatment process and wished him continued health and well-being. The Cabinet extended its congratulations to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on the occasion of its founding day anniversary, recognising the remarkable achievements across various sectors led by the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and followed up by the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The Cabinet then discussed several memorandums during the meeting, approving the following. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a draft law prohibiting the possession and trade of non-domesticated animals. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a draft decree amending Article 1 of the decree restructuring the Ministry of Finance and National Economy, and a draft resolution to transfer the Directors of Human Resources and Finance across all government agencies to the Ministry of Finance and National Economy. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs regarding a memorandum of understanding between the University of Bahrain and private schools to implement a practical vocational training programme for Bachelor of Physical Education students. A memorandum submitted by the Minister of Municipalities Affairs and Agriculture regarding the acquisition of real estate for public use to provide the necessary spaces for urban development. A memorandum submitted by the Ministerial Committee for Legal and Legislative Affairs and the Government's response to 3 proposals submitted by the Council of Representatives. The Cabinet then reviewed a memorandum submitted by the Minister of Works on the latest developments in the projects being implemented to improve the flow of water through Tubli Bay. In addition, the Cabinet noted the following ministerial reports. Outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the Paris Conference in Syria. Outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the Munich Security Conference. Outcomes of the Bahrain delegation participation in the World Government Summit 2025. Outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the Al-Ula Conference on Emerging Market Economies. Outcomes of the official visit of the Minister of Transportation and Telecommunications to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to hold a 3rd Saudi-Bahraini coordination meeting, which focused on the fields of investment, environment and infrastructure, and on the Minister's attendance at the Saudi-Bahrain Investment Forum and the 7th meeting of the Saudi-Bahraini Business Council. Outcomes of the Kingdom's participation in the opening ceremony of Kuwait, the capital of Arab culture and media 2025. Bahrain events calendar for the year 2025. A telephone call was held between His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and the CEO and President of Vertex Pharmaceuticals, Dr. Reshma Kaularamani. His Royal Highness highlighted the Kingdom's medical milestone in successfully completing the treatment of the world's first sickle cell disease patient outside the United States of America, with Casgevy, a CRISPR-based gene editing therapy using bone marrow transplantation technology. His Royal Highness reaffirmed the importance of strengthening the Kingdom's partnership with Vertex Pharmaceuticals to promote future opportunities and further support the Kingdom's health sector. His Royal Highness noted the Kingdom's commitment to enhancing cooperation with leading international specialised medical institutions, ensuring the Kingdom remains at the forefront of scientific advancement. His Royal Highness emphasised the importance of integrating cutting-edge treatments into healthcare and rehabilitation service for Bahrainis, underscoring this as a top priority. The chairman of the Arab Thought Forum, His Royal Highness Prince Al Hassan bin Talal, left the country after a visit to Bahrain, during which he met with His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa. His Royal Highness Prince Al Hassan bin Talal was bid farewell by the personal representative of His Majesty the King, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, and Ambassador of Jordan to Bahrain, Rami Saleh Walikat Al Adwan. The National Security Advisor and Commander of the Royal Guard, Lieutenant General His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, received the National Security Advisor of Cyprus, Tassos Ioannis. Present at the meeting were the Deputy National Security Advisor, Sheikh Khalid bin Ali bin Jabba Al Khalifa, and Chairman of the Strategic Security Bureau, Sheikh Ahmed bin Abdulaziz Al Khalifa. During the meeting, His Highness Sheikh Nasser emphasised the keenness to develop cooperation between Bahrain and Cyprus, which contributes to strengthening the bilateral relations and achieving common goals. During the meeting, they reviewed various issues of common interest. The National Security Advisor of Cyprus expressed thanks to His Highness Sheikh Nasser for his efforts to further develop the bilateral relations. The Speaker of the Representative Council, Ahmed Al-Musalem, and the Speaker of the National Assembly of Pakistan, Sardar Aliaz Sadiq, held a session of parliamentary talks as part of the visit of the representatives' delegation to Pakistan. Al-Musalem praised the progressive level of Bahraini-Pakistani relations in light of the keenness of His Majesty the King and the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He added that the bilateral relations are based on a strategic partnership that is witnessing continuous progress at all levels and enjoys priority and parliamentary support in vital areas of cooperation in various regional and international forums. For his part, the Speaker of the Pakistani National Assembly expressed his deep thanks and appreciation to His Majesty the King for his role in promoting Islamic cooperation and the keenness of the leaders of both countries to further develop the Bahraini-Pakistani relations. The delegation of the Parliamentary Division of Bahrain, headed by the Chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al-Saleh, will participate in the 15th Executive Council meeting and plenary session of the Asian Parliamentary Assembly, the APA, which will be held in Baku, Azerbaijan. Al-Saleh is scheduled to hold a number of bilateral meetings with heads and representatives of Gulf, Arab and Asian parliaments as part of strengthening Bahraini parliamentary diplomacy and continuing efforts to build bridges of communication and parliamentary dialogue with parliaments of brotherly and friendly countries in a way that contributes to advancing parliamentary relations and deepening areas of partnership and cooperation that benefit everyone. As part of the Bahraini parliamentary delegation's visit to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, led by Speaker of the Representative Council Ahmed bin Salam Al-Musalem, the Bahrain Pakistani Parliamentary Friendship Committee held a meeting at the National Assembly in Islamabad. Second Deputy Speaker of the Representative Council and Deputy Head of the delegation, Ahmed Abdul Wahid Karati, chaired the Bahraini side. The meeting discussed strengthening parliamentary cooperation and all fields to develop parliamentary cooperation in line with the directives of His Majesty the King and President of Pakistan. During the meeting, both sides reviewed joint parliamentary efforts, discussed various initiatives and opportunities for legislative collaboration and the role of parliamentary diplomacy in advancing shared objectives to achieve the desired aspirations and goals. The Council of Arab Interior Ministers, during its 42nd session meeting in Tunis, awarded His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa the Prince Naif Medal for Arab Security. The medal is awarded to leading figures at the level of heads of state and government who have presented or contributed to the realisation of pioneering works that led to the provision of security and peace. President Kais Saied of Tunisia received the ministers at the Presidential Palace in Carthage, noting the importance of their meeting in further strengthening joint Arab security cooperation. The Interior Minister, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, headed Bahrain's delegation participating in the meeting, which was held under the chairmanship of the Minister of Defence of Kuwait, Sheikh Abdullah Al Sabah, who received the presidency of the session from the Minister of Interior of Qatar, Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani. The meeting started with a speech by the representative of the President of Tunisia, followed by the speech of the Minister of Interior of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Honorary President of the Council of Arab Interior Ministers, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Saud bin Naif bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, followed by the speech of the Secretary General of the Council of Arab Interior Ministers, Dr. Mohammed bin Ali Kuman. The Minister of Interior then delivered a speech on the occasion.
أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة الحضور الكريم، انطلاقاً من رسالتنا الأمنية العربية التي تؤكد مسؤوليتنا عن سلامة المجتمعات وحماية وإنقاذ الأرواح، وخصوصاً في مثل هذه الظروف المأساوية التي تشهدها بعض المناطق العربية، فقد شهدنا حالات من انعدام الأمن في أكثر من منطقة وأعمال إنقاذ تتم بشكل عشوائي من قبل المواطنين المخلصين. لذا فإن الحاجة واضحة وملحة لزيادة جهود حفظ النظام وأعمال الإنقاذ وإسعاف المصابين. أيها الأخوة، إن هذه المواقف الإنسانية الصعبة والكارثية تدعونا إلى تبني استراتيجية عربية للسلام العامة لتكون من أولوياتنا، وترتكز على تدريب وتأهيل صفوف المدنيين وطنياً وعربياً من خلال إعداد الكوادر اللازمة من المتطوعين المدربين لضمان وجود قاعدة بشرية مدربة على حفظ النظام والإسعاف وأعمال الإنقاذ للتعامل مع مثل هذه الظروف والمواقف الخطيرة فور حدوثها، بما يلبي الاحتياجات الأمنية ومتطلبات السلامة لتحقيق الإسناد العام في مواجهة الكوارث. وفي هذا السياق أود أن أعرب عن شكري وتقديري لمعالي الأخ الشيخ فهد اليوسف الصباح، النائب الأول لرئيس مجلس الوزراء ووزير الداخلية بدولة الكويت الشقيقة، على رئاسة وتنظيم المنتدى العربي الإقليمي السادس للحد من مخاطر الكوارث، تأكيداً على أهمية تعزيز التنسيق والتشاور بين الدول العربية في هذا الشأن. أصحاب السمو والمعالي والسعادة الحضور الكريم، إن ما يشهده العالم من سرعة التحول الرقمي والتكنولوجي يدفعنا إلى مواكبة هذه التحولات والتطورات، مما يفرض علينا التوسع في استخدام تطبيقات الذكاء الاصطناعي في المجالات الأمنية، والأخذ بالاعتبار التشريعات القانونية المطلوبة لاستيعابها، وكذلك المحاذير والمخاطر من استخدامها على أمننا الوطني. ولهذا أقترح على مجلسنا الموقر تكليف فريق الخبراء العرب المعني بجرائم تقنية المعلومات لدراسة هذا الأمر والعمل على وضع دليل استرشادي يتم الاستناد إليه والاستخدام الأمثل لتطبيقات الذكاء الاصطناعي في برامجنا الأمنية. وفي الختام أتمنى لأعمال مجلسنا الكريم التوفيق والنجاح لنخرج بنتائج تساهم في تعزيز الاستقرار وترسيخ دعائم الأمن والأمان في ربوع وطننا العربي. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
During the meeting, Their Highnesses and Excellencies, the Arab Ministers of Interior, discussed a number of topics on the agenda and proposed draft resolutions on them, including the report of the Secretary-General of the Council, which included the most prominent decisions of the security conferences held by the General Secretariat during 2024. A draft 11th phased plan for the Arab strategy to combat the illicit use of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. A draft 7th phased plan for the Arab strategy for civil protection, and a draft 2nd phased plan for the Arab strategy to confront information technology crimes. The Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, held a series of side meetings with a number of his Arab Interior Minister counterparts. The Minister met with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Interior of the UAE, Lieutenant General Sheikh Saif bin Zayed Al Nahyan. General Sheikh Rashid expressed appreciation for the fraternal and historical relations between the two brotherly countries and mutual keenness to enhance the horizons of security cooperation in various fields. He also expressed his appreciation for the kind and honourable positions of the UAE towards Bahrain. During the meeting, they discussed the prospects of security cooperation and coordination between the Ministries of Interior of the two countries. The Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Interior of Jordan, Mazen Al Faraya. He expressed appreciation for the historical and close relations between Bahrain and Jordan. During the meeting, a number of security issues and topics were discussed within the framework of enhancing cooperation and coordination and building on what was being achieved in the process of security cooperation, based on the keenness of both sides to enhance joint work, with the aim of upgrading performance to face security challenges and rapid changes in the regional and international arena. The Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Interior of Egypt, General Mahmoud Tawfiq. He expressed the depth of the well-established fraternal relations between the two countries and the work to enhance the horizons of security cooperation in various fields to protect common interests and maintain security and stability. The two sides discussed security cooperation and reviewed the results of the Joint Security Committee meetings. As part of a series of bilateral meetings, the Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Interior of Iraq, General Abdullah Mir Al Shamari. During the meeting, they discussed topics that contribute to enhancing security, cooperation between the two countries, as well as a number of related security issues and matters. The Minister of Interior, General Sheikh Rashid bin Abdullah Al Khalifa, met with the Minister of Home Affairs of Portugal, Margarida Belasco, who participated in the meeting of Arab Interior Ministers. During the meeting, they emphasised the importance of being open to strengthening security and discussed a number of topics, including cooperation in the field of civil protection, in addition to ways to support the relations between the two countries in the security field. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, participated in the opening session of the Al Ula Emerging Market Economies, held under the theme Rising Strong, Building Resilience in a Changing World. The event was inaugurated by the Saudi Minister of Finance, Mohammed Al Jadam, in Al Ula, in a jointly organised by the Saudi Ministry of Finance and the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. The event was attended by the Managing Director of the IMF, Kristina Georgieva, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Bahrain, Khalid bin Ibrahim Humaidan. Sheikh Salman emphasised the importance of forums that contribute to the exchange of experiences and enhance the paths of economic development in the region, and noted the prominent role of the event as a platform to exchange visions and experiences on the latest financial and economic developments, address challenges and support joint international economic cooperation. He stressed Bahrain's keenness under the leadership of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and with the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, to support joint efforts to promote sustainable development and develop economic partnerships that contribute to achieving regional integration and enhancing economic growth paths. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, visited Al Ula in Saudi Arabia, accompanied by the Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Hamad bin Faisal Al Malki, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Bahrain, Khalid bin Ibrahim Humaidan. The tour included a visit to a number of ancient and archaeological areas in Al Ula, including Jadida Arts District, which offers an integrated cultural experience, as well as a visit to the old town of Al Ula, one of the most important archaeological areas that include a number of important buildings and landmarks, as well as a tour of the old city's market. The Minister emphasised the importance of the tourism sector in promoting sustainable economic growth, noting that tourism is an important factor in attracting investments in the region and promoting economic diversification. He praised Saudi Arabia's efforts to transform Al Ula into an integrated global tourism destination as a qualitative addition to the economies of the GCC countries. The Minister of Finance and National Economy, Sheikh Salman bin Khalifa Al Khalifa, participated in the ministerial meeting accompanying the Al Ula Conference for Emerging Market Economies, which is being held in Al Ula, Saudi Arabia. He stressed the importance of keeping pace with economic developments by adopting initiatives, programmes and policies that contribute to enhancing financial sustainability and facing various challenges and economic conditions. The Minister emphasised that Bahrain supports all efforts aimed at achieving international security and stability, pointing to the importance of rebuilding countries and providing them with the basic elements of development in light of the crises and changes witnessed across the Middle East, in addition to adopting sustainable financing plans and initiatives that contribute to achieving greater stability and prosperity in the region. He highlighted the importance of investing in the infrastructure, explaining the importance of enhancing cooperation and economic partnership between the public and private sectors, and adopting more development projects that contribute to attracting promising investment opportunities for the benefit of economic growth. The Minister also emphasised the importance of enhancing the important role played by various vital sectors, such as education and healthcare, to achieve the desired economic growth. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jalila Hassan, participated in a press conference on the completion of the treatment of the world's first sickle cell anemia patient from outside the United States through the CRISPR bone marrow transplant technique. She stressed that the health sector in Bahrain enjoys great support and continuous attention in light of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The Minister added that the Kingdom of Bahrain is striving to become an international leader in the field of precision medicine and innovative health solutions through deliberate investment in infrastructure and the establishment and development of advanced medical facilities. She pointed out that this historical medical achievement adds to the Kingdom's record of achievements in the field of healthcare, making Bahrain the first country in the world to complete the treatment of a sickle cell anemia patient outside the US through the marrow transplantation technique, using CRISPR gene editing, and announces the success in applying this advanced treatment, reflecting the Kingdom's status as an oasis of medical excellence and advanced healthcare. She also praised the efforts of all concerned and relevant parties to achieve this great achievement, thanking the patient and his family, who were the most important factor in the successful completion of the treatment. The Minister of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Waqf, Naf Al-Muadda, received the Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Elders, Mohammed Abra Salam. He commended the preparations and efforts of Al-Asa Al-Sarif, the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, and the Muslim Council of Elders in organising the Intra-Islamic Dialogue Conference that will be hosted by Bahrain on February the 19th and 20th under the patronage of His Majesty the King. The Minister highlighted the significance of the conference's timing, noting its broad participation from across the Islamic world, and emphasised that Bahrain's hosting the event reflects its commitment to supporting unity and enhancing dialogue through constructive engagement. The Minister of Tourism, Fatima Al-Sarafi, participated in the 9th meeting of the GCC ministers responsible for tourism held in Kuwait. During the meeting, the Minister affirmed that the GCC countries have the necessary elements to achieve leadership in the regional and international tourism scene, supported by efforts to promote the GCC countries as a single tourist destination with a variety of attractions and distinctive events, making them a favourite destination for tourists from around the world. He reviewed Bahrain's success in attracting large numbers of visitors from citizens and residents of the GCC countries during 2024, in conjunction with the selection of Manama as GCC Tourism Capital for 2024 and the Kingdom's keenness to launch various tourism and entertainment events and festivals throughout the year to meet the needs and tastes of various tourists from families and individuals, focusing on diversifying the tourism product, multiplying entertainment, hospitality and shopping options, and offering many promotional offers, travel packages and exclusive hotel accommodations for tourists from the GCC region. Al-Sharafi pointed out that the GCC countries are paying increasing attention to promoting concerted efforts to market the region as an integrated tourist destination, while creating a comprehensive tourist ecosystem that promotes the growth of the travel and tourism sector in the region. She pointed out that Bahrain's tourism strategy 2022 to 2026 gives special importance to the GCC market as one of the main tourism markets among the 5 target markets for attracting tourists, with a keenness to strengthen coordination and joint cooperation with all GCC countries. The Minister of Transportation and Telecommunications, Dr. Sheikh Abdullah bin Ahmed Al Khalifa, affirmed the Ministry's keenness to keep pace with the digital transformation in providing quality, efficient and competitive services under the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and supported by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. On the occasion of launching the e-portal system for the registration and licensing of small vessels and its accompanying services, the Minister noted that the Ministry continues its efforts in developing government services and keeping up with the latest technological developments as part of its strategy for sustainable digital transformation, in line with the Government Programme 2023 to 2026 and Bahrain's Economic Vision 2030. He expressed his pride in the partnership with the Information and E-Government Authority and the Ministry of Interior's Coast Guard Command in providing innovative electronic solutions to develop small vessel licensing services in accordance with the highest standards of quality in order to enhance Bahrain's position as a regional and global logistics, trade and maritime centre. Bahrain is a model of coexistence and harmony between all different religions, sects and cultures, thanks to the atmosphere of freedom and openness established by His Majesty the King with the follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister as part of his comprehensive reform approach. More in this report.
Believing in Bahrain's important role in confessional pluralism, respect for the other and privacy, as a constant approach throughout the ages and dealing effectively with the various challenges of the age. Bahrain's hosting of the Intra-Islamic Dialogue Conference, One Nation, Shared Destiny, comes to highlight the great interest that His Majesty the King has in hosting such inclusive Islamic conferences and events. Bahrain's initiative to hold this global event comes in response to the historic call made by His Eminence the Grand Imam Sheikh of Al-Azhar and Chairman of the Muslim Council of Elders during the Bahrain Dialogue Forum in 2022, calling for religious and human fraternity. Despite the geographical size of Bahrain, there are still vast and expanding spaces in Bahrain based on its inclusive Arab Islamic identity, providing a shining example of fraternity between religions and sects, and a living embodiment of religious freedoms. In addition, all these freedoms, constants, and authentic Bahraini values of fraternity, coexistence, and moderation are a civilized witness to coexistence and pluralism in Bahrain, from which Bahrain derives its strength and stability. Visitors to the capital Manama and the villages and cities of Bahrain will find different places of worship in a wonderful juxtaposition that reflects the constant concern for religious freedoms and the provision of the needs of citizens and residents in places of worship. Bahrain was keen and committed to sponsoring the exercise of religious freedoms with its sectarian specificity, which is one of the constitutional and national constants that the rulers of Bahrain were keen to preserve and at the forefront of their priorities and attention to be a beacon for the Islamic approach based on moderation, unity, and harmony.
The CEO of Bahrain Tourism and Exhibitions Authority, Sarah Pahiji, emphasised the prominent role of Bahrain in increasing the number of tourists coming to the GCC countries on the sidelines of our participation in the 9th GCC Tourism Agents meeting hosted by the State of Kuwait. She pointed out that the General Secretariat at GCC countries announced a 12.4% increase in the number of tourists in 2024, which is an indicator of the success of joint efforts to promote the Arab Gulf region as an integrated tourist destination. Bahiji explained that Bahrain, as one of the leading tourist destinations in the Gulf, has contributed significantly to this growth through tourism packages in cooperation with the private sector. She also pointed out the importance of showcasing archaeological and historical sites, especially those registered in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Bahiji called for further intensifying joint tourism marketing efforts and organising periodic meetings for tourism officials to enhance cooperation and achieve more successes in the future. The delegation of the Parliamentary Division of Bahrain participating in the work of the Asian Parliamentary Assembly, the APA, in Baku, Azerbaijan, praised the common visions and consensuses between parliaments and legislative councils in the GCC and the keenness to continue a joint work and coordination with the parliaments of Asian countries. The delegation praised the continuation of holding coordination meetings, which contribute to the exchange of views and visions on all issues and topics discussed in all parliamentary forums. The representatives of the GCC parliaments discussed the candidacy for the presidency of the IPA on its next session, in addition to the draft resolutions to be discussed by the APA committees. The Customs Affairs, in cooperation with Bahrain Exports, launched the Taysir platform on the Customs Affairs website in an effort to facilitate trade for partners and customers. The Taysir platform is a comprehensive guide to facilitate import and export procedures.